How are you doing, everybody? This is Elisha Hall coming to you right now for your midweek motivation. This is an exciting time because what we're going to talk about is what to do with the cards that you were dealt, what to do with the life that you were given, and how to use that to create the most amazing life possible. All right? So midweek motivation, here we go. All right, everybody, this is Elisha Hall, Midweek Motivation. Exciting times because of what we're talking about. And exciting times just because life is exciting, right? So I started Midweek Motivation just to give you an idea. I've had a lot of people that have been following me consistently week after week. But the idea is, normally when I'm in the middle of a project, in the middle of a week, sometimes even in the middle of a day, I'm not quite as excited as I was at the beginning. I don't quite have as much energy. You know, sometimes after lunch, it's that itis that kicks in after you eat too much. But in the middle of the week, sometimes it's like, man, I got a lot done on Monday and Tuesday. Not quite as excited through Wednesday and Thursday. And then Friday, I'm just looking forward to the weekend. That's how it used to be for me. And so I used to have to connect with people and find people to inspire me and motivate me and help me kind of relight that fire so that way I could get through the rest of my week in the same momentum that I created at the beginning. So that's the whole idea of midweek motivation. Keep it going, to be excited, to keep things going. It's not about just being up the whole time throughout your entire life, but it's about looking at things through a different lens, looking at things through a different perspective. One of the things that Les Brown says is you can't see yourself when you're in the picture. And the thing about being in the picture, everyone else can see you, but you can't see yourself. So the idea is, how are you able to step out of your picture frame of life in order to reflect on it objectively? So then you could actually say, you know what, that's a good one right there, I can use that. That's a good one right there, I can use that. I can take that tool, that principle, that new habit, that new thing. I can adjust things and tweak things here. It's just like if anyone here that's watching this plays golf. If you really understand golf, you've got this little golf ball. When you have that, your driver, and you're getting out there and you're ready to hit that ball. And you've got this little face on this driver that you're gonna hit that little ball. And you've got this massive swing. Anybody knows that when you start off playing golf, usually you miss the ball once or twice. I know I've done it. I'm okay to admit that. I've missed the ball a few times because you have this massive swing with all these movements and things happening in your arms and your elbows and in your hands and in your wrists and in your knees, your legs, your hips, everything. How to keep it on track that you're gonna hit that little tiny ball with the face of that club. And one of the things that you realize as you start to master that sport is if you tweak one little thing, literally less than an inch, I'd say a quarter of an inch, maybe even 2 or 3 centimeters. If you tweak something within your hand positioning, something within how your feet are positioned, the direction of your shoulders, if you tweak it just a little bit, it'll completely change where the ball hits the face of that club and where that ball ends up down the green. In life, it's the exact same way. This is to give you little tools, little tricks, little habits, little things, principles, ideas that just change things that centimeter, that half an inch. You don't have to change your life dramatically, massively to create the kind of momentum in life that you want. Just little switches, small little changes, and it'll completely adjust the trajectory of where your life is going. Just like if you're driving a ship. Understand that if you're driving a ship or a boat, and let's say you're coming out from Los Angeles, you're coming out from the Marina Del Rey, and you've got your boat, and you're saying you want to go to Hawaii. If you set your course for Hawaii, it's going to put you at a certain, you're going to chart a certain course. But guess what? If you adjust the degree slightly, one way or the other, then even though coming out of the port, it's not going to be a huge difference. Not, a few feet here and there, not a big difference. But once you get hundreds of miles out to sea, you'll see that small little change completely adjusted where you end up. Even though at the very beginning it seems small, like, well, who's gonna notice something like that? Who's gonna notice that little small change, right? We sometimes think we gotta do massive things. When I work out, I need to feel that burn. I need to make sure I'm sore for the next 3, 4, 5 days. And that momentum in working out, awesome. But if that's too hard of a workout to keep going, then that's not doing it. But if I decide to, okay, I'm gonna exercise just a little bit. I'm gonna be more active in my daily routine just a little bit every day. And I'm gonna increase my activity every day. Little changing habits, little changes in my habits and adjustments in how I live my life will completely change where I end up. Just like that golf ball and just like the boat, it'll completely change my outcome. Little adjustments. So this is about how you can look at life, how we can look at life differently from the day that we are at right now to all the days leading up to today. See, I've learned to understand a lot of the things that I can't change. I can't change my past. I can't change the fact that I grew up a lot of years in elementary school not knowing how to read. I can't change the fact that I read slower and a lot later than a lot of people. I've been made fun of in class, being told I have dyslexia and ADD and all these different acronyms that mean I'm not going to amount to anything. I can't change the fact that I had to spend time in classes for remedial learning, in some of the special ed classes. I can't change that. I can't change the fact that, growing up I got into trouble at times. I can't change the fact that through a lot of times I was very reserved and kept to myself and didn't want to talk to anybody. I can't change the fact that I didn't grow up with parents that were millionaires or billionaires. I can't change the fact that when I grew up, I didn't get the newest toys. I didn't get the newest Xboxes and PlayStation. For a long time, it took me to understand a lot of the things that I couldn't change, and I had to adjust the destructive conversations I was having with myself. When I would say things like, why couldn't I have just had this? Why couldn't I have just had that? Why couldn't I have just had two parents in the household? Or why couldn't I have just had a brother and a sister? Or why couldn't I have just had a dad? Or why couldn't I have just had, we tell ourselves all sorts of different stories, all these different things. Why couldn't I have just had this? We're looking at someone else's life. Why couldn't I have just had a dad like that instead of a dad in the military? Why couldn't I have just had a mom that was a mom who was like the CEO of this large company that could open doors for me when I grew up? Why couldn't I have just had parents that were entrepreneurs and business owners and ran their own corporations that could leave me a not just a legacy, but an inheritance where I own the family business? And those destructive conversations, all I was thinking about was the negative. And even sometimes I have conversations like, man, my life would be better only if. My life would be better only if this happened. My life would be better only if that happened. My life would be better only if the economy was like this. My life would be better only if the president was this person as opposed to this person. My life would be better only if I wasn't spanked as a kid. Or my life would be better only if I was spanked and disciplined as a kid. My life would be better only if I was an only child. We can come up with all sorts of things when we're in our minds, when we're sitting in our past, wallowing in our past, thinking about how things have been. But what I realize is the power and importance of taking responsibility. Because when you take responsibility, when we take responsibility for our life right now, to know that it's not made up of our circumstance. We are not our circumstances. We are the decisions that we make. When I started taking responsibility and realized that life is hard, life is crazy, life is difficult, but life can also be beautiful, life can be amazing, life can be just the most phenomenal thing ever if I make it that way. And I make it that way based on my decisions out of the circumstances that come in my life. And I can learn from the difficult times. I can learn from the downs in the roller coaster of life. And I can celebrate in the great times and celebrate in the ups in that roller coaster. That's what this is about. This is about how we can create the most amazing life possible. If I was born to parents that decided to give me up, I can't change that. But I can change how I decide to treat my kids. I can change how I decide to father my kids. See, if I was born to parents who were alcoholics or drug addicts, and that was the example I got, I could either say, you know what, my parents are alcoholics and drug addicts, of course I'm gonna be one. It only makes sense. It's genetic, right? Or I could say, you know what, my parents were alcoholics and drug addicts, so I'm definitely not gonna be one. I'm gonna make a decision to make some changes. Maybe I dabbled in it, maybe I was, tried it, maybe I was addicted to it, but I'm gonna make some changes. I'm gonna make some new decisions to make permanent change. It's all based on the decisions that we make to adjust the outcome of our life. And so this midweek motivation, I went a completely different direction than I was expecting to go. But I really hope you got something out of it. You notice I wasn't quite, getting into it as far as being excited as I normally am. It was just more of an intense conversation because it really brought up a lot of things that I went through in my own life. So this is definitely a personal connection. And I say, like I always say, especially sharing my life's journey, the things that I've been through. Not just the good, but then also the bad, the things that I learned from. See, if all we go through are successes in life, we don't learn from anything. I don't want to, have a mentor or read a book of someone that's all they do is just have great time, because that's not how life is. That's not a real expectation. I want to learn from somebody that's been through some tough times. I want to learn from somebody that's been through some challenges, and from those challenges, they're able to show me how they got out of that. They're able to tell me what they learned from being in that pit, because I've been in my own pits. And I don't wish that on anybody. But if you can show me how you got out of yours, that'll help me understand how I can get out of mine. Because we are stronger together than we are separately. Let's walk together, let's learn from each other, and let's lift each other up. And let's walk down that hall to success together.